Hey there, second graders. Miss Monist here. Hopefully you received that goodie bag that I delivered to you, and inside that bag is this book called The Phantom Tollbooth, and it's written by Norton and illustrated by Jules Pfeiffer. So I'm going to start this as our next read aloud. I'm super excited because it's one of my all-time favorite chapter books. It's a great story about mystery and adventure. So hopefully you're ready to go on an adventure with me using this book. So every day during our read aloud time, I'll read like a chapter or so, and then I'll post the video as well. And you can follow along with me in your own book. This is a map of where our journey is about to take place. The Phantom Tollbooth. There's a little picture. What do you think? Looks like he's climbing a mountain for some reason. I'm going to go to chapter 1. It's called Milo. There once was a boy named Milo who didn't know what to do with himself. Not just sometimes, but always. When he was in school, he longed to be out, and when he was out, he longed to be in. On the way, he thought about coming home, and coming home, he thought about going. Wherever he was, he wished he were somewhere else, and when he got there, he wondered why he'd even bothered. Nothing really interested him, least of all the things that should have. It seems to me that almost everything is a waste of time, he remarked one day as he walked home from school. I can't see the point in learning to solve useless problems, or subtracting turnips from turnips, or knowing where Ethiopia is, or how to spell February. And since no one bothered to explain otherwise, he regarded the process of seeking knowledge as a great waste of time. Anybody else ever feel like that? Like you just aren't interested in anything? Here's Milo walking home. As he and his unhappy thoughts hurried along, for while he was never anxious to be where he was going, he did like to get there as quickly as possible. It seemed a great wonder of the world, which was so large, could sometimes feel so small and empty. And worst of all, Milo continued sadly, there's nothing for me to do, nowhere I'd care to go, and hardly anything worth seeing. He punctuated his last thought with such a deep sigh that a house sparrow singing nearby stopped and rushed home to be with his family. Without stopping or looking up, Milo dashed past the buildings and busy shops that lined the street, and in a few minutes reached home, dashed through the lobby, hopped onto the elevator, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and off again, opened the apartment door, rushed into his room, flopped dejectedly into a chair, and grumbled softly. Another long afternoon. He looked glumly at all the things he owned, the books that were too much trouble to read, the tools he'd never learned to use, the small electric automobile he hadn't driven in months, or was it years, and the hundreds of other games and toys and bats and balls and bits and pieces scattered around him. And then, to one side of the room, just next to the phonograph, he noticed something he had certainly never seen before. Who could possibly have left such an enormous package, and a strange one? For a while, it was not quite square. It was definitely not round, and for its size, it was larger than almost any other package of smaller dimension that he'd ever seen. Attached to one side was a bright blue envelope which said simply, "For Milo, who has plenty of time." All in capital letters, too. Of course, if you've ever gotten a surprise package, you can imagine how puzzled and excited Milo was. And if you've never gotten one, pay close attention because someday you might. I don't think it's my birthday, he puzzled, and Christmas must be months away. And I haven't been outstandingly good, or even good at all. He had to admit this to himself. Most probably, I won't like it anyway. But since I don't know where it came from, I can't possibly send it back. He thought about it for quite a while and then opened the envelope, but just to be polite. "One genuine turnpike toll booth," it stated, and then it went on. "Easily assembled at home and for use by those who have never traveled in lands beyond." Beyond what? Thought Milo as he continued to read. This package contains the following items. 1. Genuine turnpike toll booth to be erected according to the directions. 3. Precautionary signs to be used in a precautionary fashion. What does that word precautionary mean? Like carefully, right? Assorted coins for paying tolls. So a toll is like when you're driving over a bridge or a turnpike and you have to, like, your car stops and you put money in to get across. 1 map, up to date and carefully drawn by master cartographers depicting natural and man-made features. So cartographers, like somebody who draws maps. 1 book of rules and traffic regulations which must not be bent or broken. And in smaller letters at the bottom, it concluded, "Results are not guaranteed, but if not perfectly satisfied, your wasted time will be refunded." How are you going to refund time? Following the instructions, which told him to cut here, lift there, fold back all around, he soon had the toll booth unpacked and set up on its stand. He fit the windows in place and attached the roof, which extended out on both sides, and fastened on the coin box. It was very much like the toll booths he had seen many times on family trips, except, of course, it was much smaller and purple. What a strange present, he thought to himself. The least they could have done was send a highway with it, for it's terribly impractical without one. But since at the time there was nothing else he wanted to play with, he set up the 3 signs. Here's a picture of him getting the package. The 3 signs. Slow down, approaching toll booth. Please have your fare ready, so that means your money or your coins. Have your destination in mind. And he slowly unfolded the map. As the announcement stated, it was a beautiful map in many colors, showing principal roads, rivers, seas, towns, cities, mountains, and valleys, intersections and detours, and sites of outstanding interest, both beautiful and historic. The only trouble was that Milo had never heard of any of the places it indicated, or even the names, and even the names sounded the most peculiar. So a map with all these strange buildings and places that he's never heard of. "I don't think there really is such a country," he concluded after studying it carefully. "Well, it doesn't matter anyway," and he closed his eyes and poked a finger at the map. "Dictionopolis," read Milo slowly when he saw what his finger had chosen. "Oh, well, I might as well go there as anywhere." He walked across the room and dusted the car off carefully. Here's a picture of him in his little car. Remember, he said he couldn't remember the last time he'd driven his little car. It could have been years. Then, taking the map and the rule book with him, he hopped in and, for lack of anything better to do, drove slowly up to the toll booth. As he deposited his coins and rolled past, he remarked wistfully, "I do hope this is an interesting game. Otherwise, this afternoon will be terribly dull." And that's the end of chapter 1. What do you think will happen next? Is it a magic toll booth? Is he going to go somewhere? Is he going to have fun? Is he going to think it's a waste of time? Let me know what you think is going to happen next in the comments below. Thanks, everyone.